So, yeah, I don't think this is going to work.
I don't think this is
No,
going to work.
no,
That's a great way to start
Well,
this.
see you later.
And we're recording.
And on this episode, goodbye.
I think that maybe in some earlier episode, we definitely ran into that and then recorded it again. We had like the lost episode.
Mm-hmm.
There was early on, we had a couple missteps too.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that because we had the 50th episode.
Yes, we did.
It was sweet. It was a lot of fun. We had planned on having a lot more people than we did. Guys.
Yeah.
That's to you. You know who you are.
A lot
You are.
of failures on that front.
Mm-hmm. But the people that were there.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was good.
Very good.
So we don't do intros before the show anymore. We've been doing them during the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been racing each other to say, welcome to the Campfire Passport podcast.
You finally got one again.
So I got one. We're having a special episode. This is our second special, which also means it's the second time we've had a special guest instead of just one time for a special guest.
Yeah.
So
first time, two time.
Yeah. So if you want, you can go back and listen to the last Edison. It was 80's on Edison 23. Is that what I don't know.
I think it was just the 80's on Edison special.
It should be easy to find. There's only 50 episodes. So feel free to watch a few of them or listen to a few of them on your way through too, because that would help us. But for anybody that didn't listen to that, I'm going to have Ethan here introduce himself, and we're going to do that, talk about some other stuff, and then towards the end of the podcast, might not be the end, you never know. Towards later in the podcast, at least, we're going to talk about the actual event. But for now, let's just make sure we know who you are.
Hi, my name's Ethan.
Hi.
Hi. Hello there, Internet. I was invited back again for some reason.
You kind of invited yourself back.
Well, I mean, I guess I asked, but you guys were going to ask at the same
Yeah.
time. So
I asked.
It was an
after you did.
idea.
it was like this
then-
weird trifecta of like, I'm going to ask him, but he's going to ask me. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Anyways, here we are. Just silly. Anyways, I'm back here with Campfire Passport to help promote and tell people about what we're doing here at 4x4 Bend, which is the Central Oregon's only Land Cruiser club. We do other Toyota stuff, but we're the Toyota Land Cruiser Association chapter for Central Oregon. Beyond that, we have an Instagram, and I believe we have a website as well. 4x4 Bend is the tag. You can find us there. And we'll have more events and details on those events posted up on our Instagram. There's a text message service we can sign up for with that as well. Yeah.
Wow.
No way. Where do you sign
Fancy.
up for that?
I think if you sign up for like the newsletter or something like that, I forget exactly. Usually Aaron runs those details. I'm not privy to those things. I mean, I am, but I don't know how it works.
Ethan's more of a figurehead.
Yeah,
He
you know it's there.
hits his name on it, but he
Yes.
doesn't run it all.
Right.
More of an
No,
idea man. Big picture.
God, I couldn't do it without the guys.
I'm sure.
So, unfortunately, none of them can make it this evening, but they're here in spirit.
There we go.
Yeah,
So-
don't worry, we're used to that.
Yes. Hey, life is busy, man.
Oh, you needed the badum tiss
Oh,
there.
There you go.
I missed it.
It's not too late. You can edit it in.
Mm.
There you go.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. I'm trying to figure out how to sign up for your text messages, but I'll figure that out after the podcast.
I'll get you signed up.
Okay.
So.
Usually I say, oh no, that event is this weekend.
Usually that's how that goes.
Sometimes it happens on like Saturday morning at 9:00 and they're all meeting up at 10 and I say, nope, sorry.
So typically how it works, I believe, is if you sign up for an event through an Eventbrite, you'll get either an email or your text message, and you'll put your number down, and then we'll get a text message blast like X amount of days beforehand.
Just spam us with
pretty
everything.
much. Yeah,
Cool.
just pictures of 80 series.
I mean, that could be kind of fun.
Yes.
Might be a nice little service to
Or
be
like-
a part of.
Like a newsletter that you
Yes.
used to get in your email.
Yeah.
Yes.
Once
Dude,
a week.
I bought this pair of shoes. Nobody cares about this. I bought this pair of shoes last year for
boy.
SEMA.
Shoes.
And
you bought
John
shoes
Cena?
specifically for SEMA.
I don't
What a
want to get
guy.
into the details, but
no,
yes.
we're getting into the
No,
details.
I
yes.
Well, now you've told us. We have to know. I'm not nearly drunk enough for this.
Were they Lewis Hamilton?
No,
shoes or something?
No, they were just like, this is the stupidest sounding. They're like business casual shoes, right?
Oh,
They're just like,
business cash.
basically, I got the rug pulled out from underneath me and they said, you can't wear Vans. And I said, okay. And they said, you can wear dress shoes. And I said, I have dress shoes, but I'm not going to wear them at SEMA. They're nice.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what this is for. And so they're like, well, we mean business casual shoes. Anyways, after some back and forth, I love the guys that I work with, but their idea of a dress shoe and mine were a little different. I landed on these shoes. They're nice. They're comfortable. They're just whatever, kind of so-so dress shoes, whatever. But the thing is, I bought them and then like I signed up for their stupid text message blast to get 10% off because I'm kind of cheap. And
That's frugal.
yeah, frugal. Yeah, sorry.
Well, when
that's-
everything's $1 million these days.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right.
gotta save
This-
money where you can, man.
Exactly.
Especially for dumb purchases like that.
Yeah, well, when you buy like 8 pairs to try them on and send them back, and anyways, it's
You can afford to buy 8 pairs of shoes at once.
one time and then return them. Yeah,
Oh, fair. Fair.
return 7 of them. Yes,
Why would you do such a thing? It seems
because
incredibly backwards.
I'm really picky and frugal. It's very
I mean, I guess.
yeah. Anyways, I don't want to dissect the entire thing. Just
I
some
want
of
to
it.
know all about your shoe fetish, dude.
I get
We're
I
gonna be
get
on this for a half hour.
I get text messages from this place weekly, and I can't bring myself to like unsubscribe because I don't want to miss a deal. And I know I'm never going to buy another pair, so
A
I don't
second pair
really
of
know
dress
what
shoes,
I'm
dude.
doing.
But what if I miss a deal?
Exactly. If
Unbelievable.
these things go up to 60% off, I want to be there and not buy them then.
Yeah. I don't need them, but man, that's a good deal. You want to
good deal.
see the good deal, not
right.
necessarily take part of it. But
Exactly.
it's the knowing that there was a good deal.
This is why you're sending us Facebook Marketplace ads daily right
Oh,
now,
no.
Colin. You're not
I'm-
going to buy anything,
No.
but you want to know what you're missing out
Yeah,
on.
check out this, guys. I mean, somebody's bound to have more money than me at this point, you know?
And you should, every
That's
one
what
of them,
happens.
you should start with, would you spend money on this? And just send them a link.
I actually just had my first flip from Marketplace.
Really?
Yes. I bought a CX-9 Mazda, 2009. It misdiagnosis from some place down in Prineville, and put a drive shaft and a tie rod and a set of brakes in it, and sold it for a whole bunch more.
Nice.
So that's gonna fund my Land Cruiser problem.
Heck yeah.
So transfer case gears, here I come.
Oh, I just got a set of those.
Nice.
Whoa.
Did you catch,
Look at you
speaking
guys.
of deals,
That's
did you
cute. You
catch
guys wanna do
that
it
Trail
together?
Gear 50% off?
It's
I know
still,
I know the Marlin ones are better, but I don't care.
I'm not even buying any of those either.
What are you buying?
Sumo gear.
Oh, okay. You're buying the best ones.
What's the point, dude? Like, no, seriously. Like, if I'm gonna be in there once, I want it to be like the best quality stuff, OE quality Toyota stuff that I
Yeah.
can get my hands on.
I
And I have a hookup,
okay. Okay. Never mind. It's
so
fine. It's fine.
it's
You're
it's still cheaper than the Trail Gear stuff, 50% off.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
I know.
I wish I
You
would.
missed
I
out,
wish I would have
Sean.
known that guy. Does that guy help out with the 10% underdrive ones?
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to talk
Guess
after
you
you're
this.
can get 'em-
sending,
you
guess
can
you're
get 'em
sending
next-
yours back.
next day.
I don't need them next day yet.
No,
I'm
there's
not-
there's no extra charge.
There's no.
The vendor's nearby. I'm not supposed to. Since we're on camera.
Are they in here?
No, the vendor's not in the room.
They're
with
here
us.
right now.
Oh my God, the vendor, Sumo Gear. No,
Special guest.
I'm not allowed to disclose the information,
That's
but they're closer than you might imagine.
Okay.
And actually, they were a sponsor of the event last year. So they donated a whole bunch of knuckle rebuild stuff.
Nice.
So and
I
it's,
remember that. I
yeah.
needed him, and I didn't win him.
I think I have a set, but
Nice.
it's one of those things. If you go see Max at Technique,
Got it.
he can get you stuff from them pretty quickly.
Cool.
So.
All right. Well, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing that instead of regear on the thirds to start, and then if it's not enough, going to
Yeah, I would
more.
do the high and the low range all at once. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you bought the low range.
Yep.
But
I'll
that's
mix and match, and everybody will hate me for it. So
I've done the math out. If my math checks out, I'm not good at math. So terrible at math. But my understanding.
it's going to be a 25-1 transfer case.
There you
when
go.
I'm done.
69 to 1. We're good.
Nice.
So no,
Go ahead.
I got a set of 456s.
Yep.
And my buddy Jordan's like, oh, if you're gonna go to 37s, you need to put 529s in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, bro, the pinion's the size of like a Vienna sausage. It's tiny in the front, and you got to worry about deflection in the third and all that jazz. Especially doing dumb things in the untrust axle semantics. If I do the math right, if you gear 456s and the 10% underdrive, you're at effectively a 488.
Yep.
And then it'd be 529 and 488s is effectively what I figured.
Yeah.
But you have a lot more strength instead of the 529s.
I went down that path for a while, and I found varying opinions about how much that matters. So I just, I still have stock gears, and it's fine.
Well, you have an LS in there. I don't.
Well, yeah. It actually has surprisingly, there's like something about the way my torque converter engages or something. I don't know. It has a little less umph at off idle than you think it would. Right off of that is great, but just like right there. So I'm hoping that
the low range
transfer
should help
gears,
quite a bit.
Yeah. That's something that we were like when we were out on the Rubicon. There was a couple of spots where like I would start to like spin a little bit, and then it would just rip, and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, there we go. That's fun." But yeah, I'm excited to do those too.
Yeah, the factory case in the 80 is not geared super well.
No,
it's like 2.5 to 1. It's kind of, it's okay.
It's fine.
It gets the job done with 35s, but really I find myself wanting more gear, more control. Really is what it boils down to, which is really nice.
Yeah, I drove our friend Jesse's truck, which is like a Toyota mini truck and dual cases and manual and everything. And that, like, basically the adjustment in speed wasn't so much like mashing on the pedal like I was used to. It was more slowing down.
Yeah.
Or adjusting idle speed with clutch more than anything. Like just kind of riding it around and driving over stuff. It was great. And I know I'm not going to get that, right? Like I'm never going to get to that point without dual cases or like a black box or something. But
I was waiting for that.
I looked at that when I did the swap, and they are very weird about daily driving them because they don't have there's something about the oil situation. They want you to run a cooler if you snow wheel it or you drive it on the road all the time.
Interesting.
And they might have gotten past that now, but they were at a spot where it seemed a little bit dicey to me to like, I was like, I want to be able to drive this to wherever I want and not think about it. Think about it.
And for those not familiar with the black box, to have an LS setup in your cruiser, you can actually bolt the LS and GM transmission onto one side, and then your cruiser transfer case on the other. It's pretty sweet.
Yep.
They're about $3,300.
Yeah, they're not cheap, and you have to buy like the shifter and all that stuff. What I ended up looking into was that the regular adapter everybody uses, the Marks adapter, is also not cheap. Like it's
like $1,500.
Yeah, so that was the spot where I was like, well, maybe I could do the black box, and I called them a bunch of times and went over it, and they're super cool, and it's a great product, and like people love them and use them in like a bunch of crawler setups too, because they have like doublers for 300s and 205s and that kind of stuff. But and they're like a worm drive reduction is what they are.
I don't know the specifics.
I think that's what they call it. Anyways, it's a like a weird round gear reduction box. Anyways, it became like I probably shouldn't do this.
It's into the weeds.
Yep. Now we're in the weeds. Hey, Colin, did you want to talk about Land Cruiser stuff?
No.
Come on.
We're already talking about Land Cruiser stuff.
I know that's what we're here for, but
when are you gonna buy one?
I'm just a innocent bystander.
Well, I want to air some of Colin's dirty laundry. Now that you said that, he was looking into them for a little bit. He was trying to figure out if they were something he might want to get, but then he got really fancy and bought his ZR2. So
honestly, with all the trucks on the market, I really really like the ZR2. Genuinely. Like, I think they're a really impressive package. And I'm not just like saying that to stroke your ego.
Oh,
because
just because I'm here.
But you're doing it.
No, but genuinely, like, the ZR2 is such a rad chassis comparative to everything else on the market. Granted, I know they had some frame issues at one point where they would fold if you overloaded them, but that's because people are overloading them and doing dumb things.
Yep.
Doesn't really matter. You can have a Tacoma and do that too. But the fact that it has a lot of options from the factory, like a front locker and some pretty slick suspension from what it seems.
Yep.
And just of course the Duramax in the first gen, which is a super rad option. So
yeah.
What are your thoughts on it so far?
I've gone over this before, but they were the only, if I was like when I was looking at newer mid-sized trucks, that was the only one that I looked at and was like, that's the one that I would buy if I could afford one. And I just kind of lucked out timing and being able to afford one. I used one. But yeah, I really like it. I mean, the family likes it,
right?
Which that's kind of a big ordeal for me. And then I like it because I finally have a truck. I've been trying to get a truck for like 4 vehicles, basically. So
you kept toying around with it and then not doing
and
it.
it just never happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's done all the things that I've tried to make it do, and haven't really done much to it. So that's the other kind of nice part.
Doesn't take much to really make it capable.
No.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good bones in the factory and go from there.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty impressive.
I'll go on record and say that, the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon is one of the most capable vehicles you can buy, bar none, out of the factory. Like, it'll whoop any Toyota from the factory up and down the road. And that's coming from a Land Cruiser guy. Like, genuinely. But I think the ZR2 is something special because of that, is because if you have that front locker, you have the super rad fucking DSSV shocks and stuff like that. There's some actual thought put into it instead of just bouncy seats slapped in a cab that's too short. So, looking at you, Toyota.
Bouncy seats.
Mm-hmm.
But
they're supposed to be not bouncy, right? Because they have shocks.
I don't care. I can't afford it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, those.
Why is a mid-sized truck with no legroom in the rear $75,000?
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of seats it has in it. That thing should like fly me to the freaking moon and back.
It shouldn't have those stupid seats.
I think it's the most ridiculous, gimmicky thing I've ever fucking seen.
Oh. Yep. Yeah. It's funny. I haven't seen anything come up about them for a while either. I have no idea if
the
people...
Pro isn't available yet.
Oh, that's why. Okay. That's why.
Although I did go wheeling with the J250.
I was going to ask you.
The new Land Cruiser is, people call it a Prado, call it what you want. It's a cruiser.
They're cool.
It's freaking rad. We went up Edison, which, I mean, you guys both know Edison is not kind to vehicles, especially stock ones. Sure. This was on a Westcott Designs 2.5-inch leveling kit with 35-inch tires, and he followed me everywhere that thing would go. Like, I don't even think it's had its first oil change yet.
That's pretty cool. I'm real into that.
And dragging frame, dragging trailing arms, smashing it off of rocks, you name it. Like, actually putting it through its paces.
Nice.
Shout out to Dirt. He was a real trooper.
That thing, it looks good too.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's grown on me a lot. And considering Toyota's track record for the last 2.5, 3 years with their redesigns, I haven't been the biggest fan of it.
Yeah.
The Tundra has grown on me. Still really not a fan, especially after the 100,000 unit recall.
Yeah. We've been talking about that a bunch. It's I don't mind the looks of most of the new stuff. It's like whatever. They're all fine. I think they're pretty good. But I think the Land Cruiser is like true to form, looks right. I think I said this at one point, and I'm like almost embarrassed to say it, but it reminds me of an FJ Cruiser in the best way. Like,
right.
It took the only good things about the FJ Cruiser and made them like, oh, hey, I remember some of the things about that, like the roof line. That's about it.
So we actually had an FJ Cruiser with us.
Okay.
So it went 80 J250 FJ. Okay. And you could, it's like the 80, the 60, and the FJ Cruiser all had some weird orgy and created a beautiful child out of this whole thing.
And that's what we got.
And that's what it looks like. It's so wild because it kind of has the same, it has the same mirrors, same like weird pedestal square thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Like an FJ Cruiser.
Like an FJ Cruiser, but also reminiscent of a 62.
Yep.
But then it's also got the round headlights of a 60 or an FJ Cruiser.
Yep. Maybe that's it too. I've maybe seen one of the square headlight ones.
Right.
I don't like them as much so far, but maybe they'll grow on me.
Reminds me a little bit of the 80.
Yeah.
With the rectangle, kind of the squared off front end.
Yeah.
Like, it's like somebody drew an 80 with a straight edge. The 80
took the bulbous stuff out of it.
Yeah.
Does the sizing on it? I've never like compared the numbers. I've seen them around and I've driven by them, but I've never been like right next to them. It seems like it's really similar in size to an 80 series.
It is very similar.
Okay.
I think but the actual cab is narrower and the wheels are wider. So it's got pretty sizable flares that aren't like bolt-ons, so you can't rip them off when you rub up against a tree.
That's nice.
But you can squish them. Its body
Yeah.
So it looks really good. It almost looks like factory wide body in such a way.
Nice. Yeah, they're cool. I've been eyeing them all over the place. I've seen so many of them too, which I'm surprised by.
What's his nuts with Descent?
Mm-hmm.
I saw his at Expo, and he's wheeled the crap out of it. He went down to Moab with Micah and those guys.
Yeah, is that the one that just did the Rubicon too? Is that the
teal one?
Yeah, the teal. It almost looks like the Falcon.
Yeah,
remember the Falcon livery from like forever ago? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that thing was cool. It looks. I've never seen. I'm assuming they're going to release some sort of like full video of some sort because it keeps being like kind of teased that it went up Soup Bowl, but I've never seen that it actually went all the way up. It just like is on it. So
yeah, I don't know for certain. I'm friends with Micah who was on the trip, so I can ask him. I mean, have you spent much time talking to Micah, Oregon Trail, Instagram? He's got a rad truck. Seriously.
He's got the one with like the stainless snorkel and the cage.
Yep, stainless snorkel, cage. Yep. He's down in K Falls area.
Really?
So, yeah, he's local. I'm hoping.
I mean, that's generous. K Falls is. I mean, I guess it's local. But
K Falls or Medford. I don't remember exactly.
K Falls is local to nobody.
Well, it's local to K Falls.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Like we have a really rad 80 series scene here in the Northwest, specifically in Oregon as well.
Yeah, there's some good ones in the Pacific Northwest for sure. What's that guy's username? His Instagram handle?
Micah?
Yeah, Oregon
Trail.
That's gonna come up with no.
Speaking of the new Land Cruiser, though, have you seen the new Hyundai Santa Fe? It looks like a weird Land Cruiser.
It's kind of cool.
It looks like
falls apart at the taillights, but everything else, I'm pretty
side
into it.
profile
I
is
was
like,
so
they lowered that
disappointed.
Land Cruiser.
Yeah, it drove by me, and I was like, this thing is kind of sweet. What the hell is wrong with the back of it?
Well, this isn't the first time Hyundai's done that.
What's
the Ioniq 6? It's like the front end looks like kind of like a Porsche, and then it just like looks like melted butter on the back.
Yeah, I think the Ioniq 5 is one of the best looking cars that's come out in the last.
Yeah, EV or not, man, I think it looks great.
Yeah, that one's great. They're actually gonna. This is more news that no one's gonna give a shit about, but they're actually going to make the N74 concept.
No way.
Yep,
I heard about that.
Just today, there was an article on Autopian that was talking about that they are actually going to make it, but for better or worse, it's going to be hydrogen, and they're kind of positioning it as like a high-end sports car. So the article is talking about like, will Hyundai dealerships be able to deal with this? And
Probably
then one of the first comments was, the better question is, will there be fuel for it when it comes out? So
yeah,
we'll see.
I think that's.
I
think that design is marvelous. Like really, really something cool. And I think Hyundai's done a lot of really neat stuff over the years, and kind of listened to consumers and what they want. But I think if this car comes out as like a hydrogen vehicle, I think it'll be swing and a miss, unfortunately.
There just won't be. There's just no.
There's just not the infrastructure.
Nobody's gonna like me saying this, but it should be electric. There's really just no reason it shouldn't be built on the same chassis as the Ioniq 5N and move on.
Why not? Like it's
perfect. It's already there.
I'm gonna be chastised for this.
Good news.
Great news. Stacy.
People hate us anyways. It's okay.
That's fine. No, I think one of the most beautiful parts of the electric car is the fact that you have the skateboard chassis and you can put whatever the fuck you want on top of it.
It's a good thing.
I think it's cool, genuinely. And like, there's a lot of great attributes to that. With electric cars, you can just put whatever you want on top and it drives good, handles well. There's some good qualities to be had there.
We're in a spot where some like modern, automobile evolution recently has been, because it's it's easier to do, right? Like it's easier for a smaller manufacturer to say, hey, I'm going to build a truck. And they take that truck and they put it on this thing, and then they can build a car. They can build a van, whatever.
I mean, Rivian comes to mind when you say that.
Yeah, absolutely. They're one of them.
Yeah.
And they figured out how to, improve their design to a point where they can bring out 2 or 3 models on the same type of chassis. Yes. And then that's the beauty of the whole, the whole idea.
I hope they make it.
Yeah, me too. I have my eggs in that basket. I want an R2 so bad. And it all signs point to probably. Like it just doesn't. I'm like very like, I think it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
In 26. Yeah. Maybe.
I just looking at I guess financial reports and stuff like that. I just nerd out on shit like this. I watch a lot of like video essays and stuff on YouTube.
Okay.
And I forget what it was. It was like either Wall Street Millennial or somebody like that did a video essay on the problem with Rivian.
Okay.
And it's basically they're losing like $30,000 a vehicle.
Oh yeah.
It's wild.
We had this discussion. I think all new car manufacturers have run into that. The problem is we haven't had a lot of new car manufacturers happen. So there's no gauge for this. Like nobody really knows. They took, I don't remember what the amount of money it is, but a large sum of money from Volkswagen, which is huge because that's the world's largest auto manufacturer group. So that's like a big chunk of capital that they can put in, and they're basically just buying the technology, right? But the idea is hopefully that infusion makes the company stable enough to last. It's just got to get to the point where they saturate the market enough to
they have this base built where they're not hemorrhaging money with every single vehicle.
Yeah, from everything I've seen there's like an update on the R1, and every journalist seems to like it, so it should just keep rolling.
I don't have any sort of experience with them. I see them around. Yeah. They're selling, obviously.
Yeah, but we are in a weird spot, man. If you go anywhere else in the country, you will not see them like you do here. Maybe Denver, maybe some Southern California spots,
you
but
know what
not
I've seen
really.
Around? I've seen a couple of Ineos Grenadiers.
Yeah, we have a few of them.
There's a few. I really like that. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, very good.
What do you think, Colin?
I've been to them too.
Yeah.
I think that they're a neat platform, and they are, again, in that new market where it's like they're making a somewhat bespoke vehicle that like people that don't want a bespoke vehicle can still be fine with owning as well.
Right.
And I mean that's kind of the idea, right? Is like you're not trying to sell to a niche market. You're trying to sell to everyone, but the niche market wants it because it has these amenities, certain features. Yeah. And that's kind of where they are. Like I saw one just the other day, and it was like some unassuming, 30, 40-year-old soccer mom just driving it around. It's like, oh, okay.
Just my SUV?
Yeah, just my regular car.
Yeah, normal traffic to some people.
Yeah.
When to us, it's like, this is the coolest thing since sliced bread. Oh my God, you have an Ineos?
Yeah.
What?
I'm just excited that they're selling them, and I hope they sell more and more and more and more of them, so one of us can buy it used at some point. That's
right.
Really that's the whole
used
hope.
Market.
Let's hope they're better than Land Rovers, but they depreciate like them.
Yeah, that'd be
nice.
Which
I don't foresee happening.
No.
Yeah, that's gonna take a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know, on the financial front, like how much, if they're profitable on that vehicle. Like they have
Probably
a huge backing, so they're fine. Just kind of like a play toy, it seems, to the ownership. But I don't know. Are they?
What's his name? Who's the owner of Ineos? Sir, is it Rick? No, it's not Branson. Is it?
It's a very famous guy.
Yeah.
Are you gonna Jim Ratcliffe? Sir Ratcliffe.
So he is a diehard Land Rover enthusiast.
Well, obviously.
Yes.
Yep.
But he actually bought the very first Land Rover. I don't know if you guys know the story.
No.
There's a whole video series or video on it that the Drive did, Richard Hammond. And Richard Hammond kind of walks you through the story of finding I think it's Dewey or Dewey. It's the original number plate for the vehicle.
Huh.
And it was lost in the English countryside for like 40 some odd years.
Oh my God.
And they found it. Like he commissioned people to go find it. And they found it in a barn in like 4 pieces.
Oh my God.
But most of it was still there. It was just rotten to all hell. But he actually paid somebody to restore it and make it nice and drivable using period correct parts and this and that. And then, like an absolute madman, he drove it across the Mongolian desert.
Oh my gosh.
It's an absolutely incredible story, and I would hope that you guys go watch that.
I'm gonna have to.
It's great. It's very moving as well. It's like, I don't want to sit here and like verbally jerk off a multi-billion-dollar man. But it's really, really cool just to know that like there's somebody out there that actually gives a shit.
Yeah.
And this is like a true enthusiast car because
he's a true enthusiast.
Yeah, there's a true enthusiast.
Pretty cool.
So you might not think of the Ineos Grenadier as a enthusiast vehicle, but it is.
Colin, how much do you hate that he is part owner of Manchester United?
Oh, sports.
Ooh,
How much do you hate
that's-
that?
Yeah,
I know nothing. I
that's
just know enough about
that's too bad.
football. I'm saying the right thing
Yep.
to grind Colin's
That,
gears.
that is really too bad for him, mostly because they suck.
Oh, no.
But
where's
also,
your womp womp button?
yeah,
Yeah.
But also, yeah, fuck United. That's a little, ugh.
Oh,
Can I
man.
just call something back really quick while we have a soft spot? It's a soft spot.
Okay.
Let's soften it down a little bit. Let's just,
Soft spot
The,
for Land Rovers?
the,
Me? Yeah.
the Northwest Fab black box is a planetary gearbox. I just needed to say
there we
that.
go. Cool.
I said worm drive, which kind of like,
Well,
man.
planetaries are.
Yeah,
Mm,
I was wrong. I'm just going to say I'm wrong.
I was like, how
Thank
the
you.
hell are you getting a worm drive out of that? I'm like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Planetary reduction is really cool. Gearing is really cool, just in general.
Oh man, I am not nerdy enough for that. And I find myself to be pretty nerdy about a lot of things, but gearing, like engineering nerdery is the spot where I go, it works. I'm happy that it works, and that's pretty much as far as I can take it. It's like you with math. I don't know.
I'm not good at math.
I'm not good at engineering.
at math. I just like
or
the-
math, but
like- You ever tear apart have a drill self-destruct and you tear apart the planetaries in it?
I don't think so.
No?
I used to. So like when I was a kid, I used to take electronics apart a
Mhm.
lot, but never really anything other than dirt bikes and electronic things. So
I got into RC crawling pretty
Okay.
heavily a little bit, and haven't had much time since I got the dog, but the amount of gearing and customization you can do. Like I ended up changing the motor to a 35 turn, and then I was able to reduce it there with the spur gear, and then it has reduction in the case and then reductions at the axles as well. So it's on portals. It's an axial Capra.
cool.
It's a lot of fun.
I have an SCX or whatever. Like
Yeah, I've got a TRX4 as well, which is also on portals.
old one. No portals though. No
It's
portals
fun.
on mine.
It's
Sounds
it's
cool.
cool. It's way nerdy.
I have a lot of fun with it for like 10 minutes, and then I never want to deal with it. I don't want to clean it. I don't want to charge it. It's just,
I
they're
need to
really
go.
fun for a little bit.
I need to go down to Sawyer Park and go play down there at some point. There's some
Okay.
really good terrain down there.
Okay. All right.
Go drink a couple beers and go nerd crawl.
That sounds fun. That sounds pretty fun. All right, Colin. What's your master plan?
You guys want to have an 80 off?
Yeah, let's do
Yes.
it. Let's do it. Let's get it over with.
Okay.
Let's let Ethan win.
So basically, how this is going to work is that there'll be a series of questions.
Okay.
Where the points are made up and and the answers don't matter.
So what's the point? What's the
Great.
point, Colin?
But one of you is going to win.
What do we win? Tell them what they'll win. Nothing.
Nobody,
Okay.
nobody wins.
It's a high five.
But my basically the general idea would be, if one of these questions sparks a story
Okay.
in one of your brains,
Okay.
then just go for it, and
Just
then
ramble.
we'll just
Ramble on.
we'll just keep going.
I'm sure it will.
So, first off, I already know the answer for Sean on this one.
You want to answer for me?
Yeah, total Land Cruisers owned 2 for Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what
I thought-
about for Ethan?
In my possession, 1.
No, total. How
One.
many total have you had?
1 that's been in my
One.
name.
Still one.
Wow. Okay. So that means, owned now, I also know that one. That's 1 for Sean. And so that means that's 1 for you.
Correct. Does the girlfriends count or the one we sold recently?
I mean, it
What do you mean
depends.
the one
You live.
sold recently? That just,
It wasn't mine. My girlfriend bought it.
Oh.
I had
okay.
some money. I had some
So
money
we should
involved.
have
So
her here.
we should have had her here. She has
She could have beat
more.
She
80
could have had.
series.
She would have had 2 80 series to my 1.
That's
Girlfriend's doing better.
that's
than me.
100% more, by the way.
Unbelievable.
Math.
Math. Man, it's tough.
Matt, it's hard out here for pimp.
It's funny because I almost said 50% more.
Easily.
It's buy
50%.
one get one.
Okay, so longest owned Land
Oh,
Cruiser.
man.
So
Um,
how many years have you owned your Land Cruisers?
I've owned mine since May 14th, 2016.
Longer than that. I know that, but I
So that would be
think it's been.
Over
just
8
short.
years.
Yeah, so that's 8 years then, yeah.
Can we come back to this? I can tell you, but
don't
it's
know.
going to take me a second.
He's browsing
Oh,
his
it's gonna
Instagram
take-
right
he's
now.
That's the only way I'm going to be
That's the
able
only way
to
he's
know.
gonna know the date that he
Oh,
that
you
he
had
brought
an
it
LX
home.
450 forever ago, and it was for sale.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was super clean.
Yeah, it was a nice one. I kind of sometimes wish that I would have kept it to drive it, but it also was stock other than it was like, had a lift kit and 35s, and it was boring.
It was
And
boring.
And I didn't want to wheel it because it
It's too
had
nice.
'Cause it was too
running
nice.
boards and all the LX 450 cladding, and I was
Mhm.
like, well, I'm not going to do that.
See,
So,
that's the fun thing about owning an 80 that's kind of a hunk of shit,
yeah.
is you can just go drive over rocks and whatever curbs. Doesn't really matter. It's a lot of fun. You don't have to care about it. So a lot of people have these as like collector items, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, that is a huge sect of the 80 series crew. Is how many of them are just like these pristine, like objects. They're just
Yeah,
gorgeous to look at, and it makes you wonder. Are you utilizing it as hard as maybe you should? And I know
No.
that some people probably get close.
I
But-
mean, personally, for me, I think that you should enjoy a vehicle like this. It's not meant to sit in a garage and collect dust and just be looked at. These vehicles are better driven, I think, in my opinion. And honestly, like if you're letting it sit in your garage and you take it out once a weekend or something like that just to go get coffee or something like that, you're not utilizing that vehicle to its fullest potential. This thing's got a solid axle, possibly 3 lockers, and it's meant to frickin' take you anywhere you want, as long as there's a gas station nearby.
Very nearby.
And, I'm a firm believer in that you should enjoy things, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm doing this event is getting people out and showing them that they can drive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, there were some really pretty ones.
There was.
last year's that
Yeah.
it was kind of you could tell some people
Yeah.
were very timid about driving them,
My
and
friend,
they needed your assistance
Yes.
or Jeremy's assistance or whoever's of
Yeah.
being like, no, like
you can do this.
seriously, you just keep
drive
driving.
it. You're gonna be fine.
Turn this a little bit, and just
Yeah.
listen to what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Do this; it's gonna do it. Like
Yeah.
we know
Well,
it will.
My friend Ali, who we talked about earlier, he grew up in a Land Cruiser family, and he has this absolutely gorgeous 2-tone. I think it's a '97 in the emerald green, full ARB kit. It's it's immaculate, and he took it with us and drove it.
Mhm.
And it was
awesome.
like, I'm like, man, this thing's too nice to be out here.
Yeah.
But he had a blast.
That's good.
Sean, how long have you had yours for?
10 years.
10 years.
10.
Got me beat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a little longer than that, but it wasn't.
Well,
Feels like forever.
so speaking of putting miles on, how many miles do you have on your Land Cruiser?
Well, it's kind of a weird one because you mean how many have I put on?
No, how many are on it?
It has 310-ish thousand, I think, but the odometer stopped working when the speedo stopped working during snow wheeling season this year. So
Mhm.
I probably put another. I mean, we went to the Rubicon and back,
Mhm.
and I've gone other places with it to Eastern Oregon a few times. It's probably got another 5,000 miles. 315 to 320.
We'll call it 315.
You win. My odometer stopped working at like 250 and change. Like relatively recently.
Oh,
I had just put lower control arms in the rear, as well as my my Delta bracket, and I went on the test drive, and all of a sudden it stopped working, and I just haven't given enough of a shit to get that fixed. It's like a $60 part.
I'm very annoyed by mine being out. It really bothers me.
I was driving home from actually Edison the other night, and I was like, I wonder how fast this thing will go. So I pull up Gaia, and I'm doing like 85 down Lafayette View Pass.
Nice. You know what? The Land Cruiser is surprisingly stable at
That's
80 to 90.
Nobody believes me.
Over 90, not ideal, but under 90, it's great. They're
Yeah.
like planted and perfect.
It actually drives
No
really
issues.
good.
It's that weight.
It's all that
So-
weight.
It's all
You don't want
that
to.
weight.
You don't want to try to stop it at that
No,
speed.
Yeah.
But man, on a
Brakes.
straight line with a little downhill,
Oh boy.
it's
I had a lot.
nice.
I had a lot of downhill. Mind you, I have a 3F in that thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, you know, but people might not know.
They
It's-
are. Mine was very slow, and they are so much slower than a later one. It's really
Oh,
bad.
it's like tragically slow. It's really funny.
I think that after having power in mine, I think that the factory like drivetrain, the 1FZ, is kind of charming. Like, it's kind of torquey. It makes cool inline six noises, or not so cool inline six noises, depending on how you look at it. And it revs pretty good. Like, it's an all right motor. It just gets terrible mileage and it's slow. But like, you know what it's going to do always.
Well,
and
yeah.
going from that to this, I'm not like afraid of mine, but it's a lot different. There's like, I'm always a little cautious about what I'm doing. Whereas before you could just put it to the floor everywhere and just go.
Hope for the best.
Who cares? Like, it's fine. And
that's,
you know, it's not going to break.
Right. And that's kind of how it is with this truck is, the 3F had 70 less horsepower and like 40 pound-feet less torque.
That is so much when you're talking about
when you're starting
starting with 212.
Nothing.
Right. It's 155 and 220 pound-feet of torque.
Jeez.
Not a lot. That was new 32 years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, 33. Sorry, it's 91.
Math.
Yeah.
Math. Once again, here we go.
Math.
I'll have you add up the points here
Yes,
at the
there
end
we go.
too. We'll see how that works out.
I'll wait.
But I just watched Grown Ups. It's one of my favorite bad movies.
Oh,
wow.
man.
And Grown Ups 2, actually.
That was filmed in like where I grew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Okay. So Grown Ups 2, Kevin James's kid, he's just like terrible at at math, and they're just like trying to like just give him positivity on everything. So he's just like, he just comes up with these ridiculous math things and says them out loud, and they're like, great. And there's a scene where he walks away and he says, guess we're not paying for college.
So you remember the water park, Grown Ups 2?
Yeah.
I've been to that water park.
No way.
Yes, seriously.
It's a real water park there?
It's called Waterways in Wareham, Massachusetts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's an absolute shithole. And
You've made my night.
Yes. So the zip line
Real?
that's there?
No,
not real.
Okay.
No.
I was like, that can't be real.
No.
There's no way.
That whole water park is the biggest hunk of shit in the whole wide world.
Did you turn the water blue or?
No, I did not. Not on
Okay.
purpose.
Okay.
We were poor growing up, so I didn't get to go there much.
Oh, I hear that.
I'm still poor, but now I live in a cool place. Mostly because
Still
of my
poor.
Land Cruiser problem.
Not growing up anymore, but
Still growing up.
oh, okay.
So with you tried to answer it before I got to it. How many of those 315 are your miles?
I got it with 204,000.
Okay, so math.
Well, so it's also had 37s on it for 80%
geez.
or
Here we
more of
go.
that time. So I'm gonna
Oh,
just
now we're
I'm
really
just gonna
getting
round
complex.
it to I've put over 100,000 miles on it. I'm just gonna
Okay.
say that. I
Alright.
think it's probably closer to like 140, but
140? Okay. I mean, I'll give you the 140. That's what you
it's a
want.
lot of miles.
It is.
3 sets of tires.
There's a good way to math that.
There you
3
go.
sets of tires.
Yeah, you know what the mileage is on the
Yes.
tires, and then
There you go.
Okay, so how about yours?
I bought mine with about 182,000 on it.
Man, I didn't know you had such a low mileage nice example.
Yeah. It's an
Okay.
absolute hunk of shit. Don't let the numbers fool you, man. On paper, it looks great. In the parking lot, it's leaking oil currently, and it gets me where I need to go. I bought it with 182,000, and so far we're at like, if I had to guess, 260. I put about 80,000 miles on it, I think. So, but I bought a daily driver between then and now.
About half.
I've had about 7 daily drivers since I've had mine.
Yes.
But it always ends up being my daily driver because
But
I like it.
honestly, my Matrix, which has been absolutely bomb-proof until I drove it 60 miles an hour down Conklin Road, and it rattled itself apart and overheated. The little plastic T, Toyota's Infinite Wisdom. There's a little plastic T that connects the steam vent to the hose,
Okay.
to the top of the radiator. What do you call that? The cap expansion thing.
Yeah.
I had decided to rattle itself off and shoot all of my coolant out.
Oh my God.
Just because it's old and it's got a gajillion miles on it. And I was just minding my own business. I was like, man, car's running funny. I look down, temp day is just pegged. Plug in my OBD2 scanner and like 260-degree coolant temp. I'm like, no! So
I don't know if you needed the OBD2
I was
scanner
like,
to tell you it was overheated at that point.
no, I knew it was overheated, but I was like, how hot did it get? And I was
Okay.
like, did I cook the head? I didn't,
No,
thankfully.
that's good. That's good.
I drove it today. But I was so mad because I had somewhere to be that day too.
Oh no, of course.
I had to go. I was filming a YouTube video for my buddy Josh. We did a whole bunch of value bike reviews.
Oh, okay.
So it was the first day of filming. He's like, I got to get this done. I'm like, fuck, dude. My car just
Let me
blew
just
up.
ruin my car.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I could save so much time by going Conklin instead of going up and over through Bachelor and all that shit. I was like, oh, I'll be fine. I can do, 45, 50. I was like, oh, this feels great. What's 60 like? Just fucking floor it. Beat a car, whatever. Blew up.
Rally car. Just a rally car.
Dude, it's all-wheel drive. It's great.
Yeah.
It's the greatest car ever made.
Is it a manual?
I wish.
Oh.
They didn't come in manual.
They didn't?
Not with all-wheel drive.
Lame.
I wish. I really wish that car came in manual. It'd be so much fun with all-wheel drive.
It'd be one of those cars that'd be like so sought after and weird. It'd be worth way too much money now.
Mhm.
Yes.
Instead, they're.
But you know what is weird about that car? It's got the 2.4. It doesn't burn a lick of oil.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Because those had like major oil consumption issues. The 2AZ.
Yeah.
They're, like huge problem. Like it was a recall, and mine was apparently unaffected. Complete luck
That's
of the
good.
draw.
That's good. That's good.
What's your next question?
Is the next question how much oil does your Land Cruiser
No,
consume?
I probably should have put that on
I thought
here.
I'd win that one.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well,
depends on how we're
consume or
winning.
lose. Yeah. So the next one is, what was the longest trip that you have taken the Land Cruiser on?
Like mileage?
Yes.
Mine has been, I think the longest one was taking it to, we went to Death Valley in it. I think that's the longest. So
You keep winning, dude.
that was, I don't know how many miles that is, but it was
A
a
lot.
bit. Yeah.
It's way more than I've ever done. I think the longest round trip that I've done was I think I did 400 miles in 2 days.
Okay.
So
In my head,
I
I'm
was at the
thinking,
coast.
I drove it to Prineville one time.
I drove mine to Prineville recently to go buy that Mazda I talked about earlier.
Okay. So yeah,
No, I mean it still drives pretty decent.
it does become a thing. Like even mine, on that long of a road trip, it's like, it gets a little tiring to drive that far.
Yeah.
It now not so bad except for not having a speedo or cruise control. That part
Yeah,
is a little
cruise control will do it for sure.
that I need bad. I have it. I need to finish it. I need to finish that
Need to
part.
Did you ever consider just getting a high idle? You can buy a high idle like cable and
Oh.
actuator, and then you have to modify your pedal.
Oh, interesting.
It's only like $60.
Well, he's drive by
Well,
wire.
mine
now.
is drive by wire now, so
Well,
I have all the wires in the right spot. I just have to have a
is your
controller in there.
throttle is your throttle still like traditional cable?
Drive by wire.
Never mind then.
Yeah, LS stuff.
Stupid.
It's got it does.
Mine's got an actual throttle cable instead of electrons and shit.
I really like having drive by cable with it, and I had like, I don't know, the last drive by cable car I had was not too bad. I don't know. I had a Volkswagen, the Mark IV. It's the one that was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after that, I've been like, oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. Modern stuff.
Okay. How big's your lift?
We might have the same springs.
I think I have their Dobinson 3-inch mediums in the front, and then Dobinson multi-rate 3-inch in the rear.
Mine
Mm-hmm.
are also Dobinsons, but they're the Flexi 3-inch.
Yeah.
Oh.
I have the Flexi 3s in the rear.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
well, either way, it's 3.
yeah, three all around. I think mine's probably lighter in the front, so it might be a little taller, but
I have a 30 mil spacer in the front. That's it.
It's probably the same then.
Yeah.
We
It sits pretty level.
should park them next to each other. Mine actually is a little bit saggy in the back because it's a little heavy.
Like a poopy diaper.
Heavy in the back, light in the front.
There you go.
Yeah. I already know your guys' tire sizes. 37s, 35.
Not for much longer.
37s on. No?
I have 37s.
Oh, you have
That truck
them
is
now.
abysmal
Mm.
on 37s. It is. It looks amazing. It drives great because they're not at around yet. I haven't been wheeled on, but I've got a set of Maxxis Razors in 37s, and I cannot wait to put them on.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
so excited.
Okay.
So I've been cutting for that.
So
Nice.
other than here on the podcast, did you talk about your Land Cruiser today?
I'd have to think about that. Hold on. Who did I talk to today?
I did, yeah.
Oh, I definitely did too.
Oh boy.
Always.
You
Yeah.
guys.
Does
Always.
it count
You
that it
people.
was at work or
I also talked about.
I don't know. Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Mm.
I
What
talked
else
with
did-
the girlfriend about her Land Cruiser as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see?
Do I get
To
extra
get an
points?
extra
Land
point
Cruiser
taken
people.
off for that,
You
or
Land Cruiser people, I tell
Well,
you.
listen, man. When the girlfriend's gonna put a 3-inch exhaust on her truck, make cool turbo diesel noises, how
pretty
can you
cool.
not be stoked?
That's pretty cool.
That's 1HTT sounds great, man.
They do.
Okay. Toughest trail. I'm sure Sean will
Rubicon.
say
He wins.
Rubicon, but
Edison.
wins.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think honestly, the Rubicon for the time,
mm-hmm.
and then whatever the Lapine place is, what's it called?
That's Rim.
Oh,
Rim
Butte.
Rim Butte might be
I've heard that's
the
fucking
hardest
gnarly.
trail it's been on.
Mm-hmm.
Because that did a lot of damage in not much time. Then, so that Rubicon and Hoodoo, we didn't get far enough because Mike had eye surgery the day before and should not have been out there. But that started out real sketchy too, and I was like, "This is gonna get wild." And then Mike had to turn around. It didn't get wild. It stayed very fine.
Very mild.
Yeah, very mild.
I did 34 backwards in the dark at one point.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
a good
definitely fun.
That
I think that's the sketchiest I've ever been in that truck. Was me and my buddy Reed, and I'd never done 34 before.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that's at Klein Butte.
Yeah, that's the best. 34 is my favorite local trail by.
It's so much fun.
Tenfold.
Yeah. Either that or Edison. That's typically what I wheel. I haven't really left the state with the truck because I haven't had a lot of money. Just it's thirsty and I can't really afford to break it.
There's that.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go do something stupid, or I have to get to work on Monday. So I was my daily driver for a long time. So,
yeah. Now you broke your daily driver, but you drive. You're good now.
I'm good now. It's been fixed. Yeah.
Okay, never mind. We're back.
So speaking of fixed, biggest failure you've had in the Land Cruiser?
I'm trying to think. The biggest, it's left me stranded twice in the 8 years that I've owned it. Nuked a tire at one point, split a sidewall, just hit like a 3-foot deep pothole and just 10 psi. I was like, oh, that's weird. Tire keeps losing pressure. This is forever ago. I had some sketchy tires I bought from Jeremy. They were never fully inflated, so the sidewall was all dry rotted. There's some fierce attitudes. Just like they're a Goodyear runoff or something like that. It's barbed wire in the sidewall. Total.
I know what those are. Yeah.
They're actually a really good tire in the snow.
Oh,
they're fucking awesome, but they only come in a 35. Was my first set of 35s. And then that, and I blew up a radiator hose, and that's pretty much it.
I've never been. So it's been towed home one time because of a tire, and that was shout out to Mike for using his
the old AAA.
Legitimately, of course, because he was with me, and that happened. I just blew out a tire at Klein on 34, actually, and then ironically, after that Hoodoo trip, I bent my drive line, and I think I took it out to get home. I'm like 99% sure. Rear drive line. It blew the fusible link one time. Didn't leave me stranded, though. I limped it back to the shop because I was like a block away. Okay, so those are like all the things that have happened that have been like bigger things. But the worst failure of all time, I think, has been my 5-year-long leaky front axle. That is definitely the worst thing. It never made it undrivable. It didn't strand me anywhere, but it marked everywhere it went for many years.
Yeah. And you've failed to correct it
for so long.
4 times?
Oh, I did 4 or 5 axle rebuilds on that thing until I fixed it.
Did you go with the Marlin kit?
No, it was, I tried Marlin seals, I tried trail gear seals, I tried OEM seals, and now I'm back on trail gear seals because I had marred inner axles and didn't realize that was the problem the whole time. Oh, also I swapped the knuckles out. I don't know if that changed anything, but I did it. Could have fixed it.
Marlin makes a kit to actually relocate the axle seal in or out of where it needs to be.
Like an overdrive. I probably could have done that.
Yeah.
I probably should have done that.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
I bought new hairs instead because
they were
all messed up.
When was the last time you checked your knuckle studs?
Well, I just redid everything before we did Rubicon, so they're great.
That was something that held you up one time.
Oh, I lost.
I
lost a stud on the way home from
that.
the Alvord one time. Yeah, I had to go to an Ace in Burns, And they
Oh my
pointed
God.
me out to the metric section, which I shit you not was 2 bins wide. And I was like, uh-oh.
I've spent a little bit of time in Burns when I was cameraman for Casey Liddell. There ain't shit there.
Casual name drop.
Yeah.
Casual.
I don't know.
There is nothing.
Casey's just a normal guy. But there ain't fuck all in Burns, man.
No,
There's nothing.
We went to their Dairy Queen after one of these trips as well, or before, I don't remember. And they were out of like half the things on the menu, and I was just like, only in Burns would this happen to me.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got
Sorry,
like
we don't have vanilla ice cream, and I'm like,
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What are you gonna make everything else
Yeah, that's
with?
what you make everything with.
What do you want? Disappointment in a
That's
cup?
the base.
Charge me for it?
Oh,
So biggest mod. I already know Sean's obviously LS.
I put new interior in it.
That's a pretty big deal.
Just kidding. Like it was almost harder.
Well,
Probably.
maybe.
No, I think the engine's the biggest
Yeah.
thing, of course.
Okay.
I'd say I usually do most of the work myself, and most of it's in bolt-on so far, between bumpers and that sort of thing. But I'd say probably the most expensive modification I made is having sliders put on finally.
Mm.
Definitely very useful because
Oh, the
I'm
best.
not exactly tall, so I'm very average. I'm 5'8",
Very average.
very average,
Right at average.
Look at you guys.
square average.
So when you guys are driving down the road, just casual,
Casual driving.
doing whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
driving down the road, and you spot another 80 series
What do I do?
in traffic, is there a watch in hopes that there's a wave?
Depends if it's modified or not. If
Yeah.
I see like bigger wheels and tires, or like a bumper, or maybe some like goofy stickers or something, I'm over there like, "Ah!" like an absolute freaking idiot, making the Jeep wave look like a fucking kindergarten class.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here throwing a party in the front seat.
That's good.
What about you?
So Morgan and I had this conversation on the way into the Rubicon.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw a lot that
Yeah.
day. There was probably 10 80 series. And what he noticed was Land Cruiser people wait till the last second and someone breaks sometimes. We were at about I think 3 out of 10 was a wave scenario. The other ones were just driving along like that.
There you go.
I don't even know what kind of vehicle you're driving.
Yeah.
Is that a 4Runner?
You don't
What do
exist to me.
So
Because you guys are so self-conscious, you don't want to be a Jeep person.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Do the wave.
Could
Yeah.
possibly.
So
be
is
called
that the
Jeep
type of
person.
person you are?
That's it. I mean, I'm not going to wave until they wave for the most part.
Okay.
Unless I know them. If I see this guy, I see
Mhm.
somebody else I know, I'm going to wave. Sometimes, really excited. Depends on the mood. I might just kind of give a regular wave.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing any weird Jeep peace sign or throwing a duck at them or anything like that. It's not like that.
Yeah, I don't like. I haven't spent a lot of time out of town. I guess I've spent most of my time here in Central Oregon the last 8 years or so. I spent most of my time here.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Probably know everybody.
I know most people who own 80 series out here. So it's like, oh, there's Joe Blow down the street, or there's Fuckface. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
So,
That
and that's
makes
usually
sense.
how it goes. Like I can't remember people's names. So,
Yeah, well, I get that.
but I remember their truck, which is the important part.
That's right. That
Yeah.
is the important part.
That's true. So I've reached the end of my
Oh,
tabulation. So I'm going to have to tabulate this.
Okay.
So
Tabulation
while I'm
nation.
tabulating to give you guys the
it's really
The
the readers.
results.
It's not for us
Right.
well,
or the
Well,
listeners.
it's bragging rights.
yeah,
And
it'll be
bragging
bragging rights
rights.
between the two of you. And I'm not gonna my math here is gonna be proprietary. So
Proprietary
if
math.
other 80 series owners would like to come on here and have an 80 off with the winner of this,
Oh,
Gotcha.
then more than
are we
more than
picking
welcome.
a new host? Is that what's
Is that what's going on?
I didn't realize I was fighting for my
'Cause
job.
The host has to have an 80.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
only.
Yes, that's the only
that's
person that can host.
requirement.
Yes.
So while I'm tabulating, why don't you tell us about the event that you're
Yeah.
putting on that is coming up once again this year?
Cool. So the event that Colin is talking about is called 80's and Edison. It is a celebration of the 80 series. It'll be taking place October 19th and 20th here in Central Oregon. If you have an 80 series and you are watching or listening to this podcast or video, I encourage you to come if you are local. I've had people from all over message me. I had somebody reach out from Colorado the other day,
Nice.
which is rad.
Yeah.
What's his name? Black Hills Builds. He actually he shared our story, and I had a pretty good positive outpouring from that.
Nice.
So we're trying to get everybody and anybody who's either interested in owning an 80 series or owns an 80 series or that sort of thing to come out and check out this event. So you participated last year.
Yeah. It is awesome. So it last year I came a little bit late, and I kind of met up with you guys towards like the middle end. And there's a couple things that I took away. Actually, I think I went the year before, or
I think you've been involved since pretty much the start of this.
So it is a couple things. One, it's a great group of people. Even if the first time I went, the turnout wasn't huge, which almost, I shouldn't say this because it's terrible sounding, but like it almost made it better. It was so cool to have like a nice little like tight knit group of people. It was fun. It's a great group, and then it's really fun to wheel with the same vehicle that you have. It's something that I didn't understand at all, and it's got to be the thing that Jeep people feel all the time. But like to go through a line and then watch the next guy come up to it and like kind of hesitate. I'm like, no, you got this. You're the same thing I am.
Yeah.
Or the same thing. Like I saw someone go over something, and I go, oh, I've never done that part of that line. I should
do that.
I should try that because that looks like a different way to go or whatever. It was really cool.
Well, it's like we had one gentleman, Sean. He's got a Poverty Pack 1HZ with a 5-speed.
Oh, yeah.
On like 31s. And Sean drove the ever-living dickens out of that freaking thing. And it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, he's got a smaller tire. He's heavier than the rest of us. Because he's set up for touring.
Yeah.
But it was just so much fun to watch because, yeah, it's the same vehicle, but the setup is so much different.
Yep.
Than everybody else's, and it's just fun to watch people navigate and see the camaraderie being built, new friends being made. The whole idea is just to have a good time in the woods with your buddies.
Yeah. Well, you guys put on a good time, and then the other thing that's really cool about it, are you going to do the raffle thing again this year?
That's the plan.
Oh my gosh, you had the most sleeper raffle I've ever run into. I was like, oh, there's a raffle, like I should make sure I participate, and I just did, and then all of a sudden, the stuff starts coming out, and I'm like, what is going on here? You're going to give away a car next? Like,
don't threaten me.
Turns out that Land Cruiser that they just had out, they're just going to give that away, right?
Yeah, right?
The 250.
Yeah, I wish.
Thanks, Toyota.
Yeah, right? So, yeah, we had sponsorship from Yankum. Micah with Oregon Trail donated some money off a bumper. We had, I'd have to look and see, Sumo Gear donated some stuff. Technique Vehicle Outfitters. There's a few others. Actually, Technique got us dinner.
Oh, that's super nice too. Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was really cool. The weather didn't hold up so hot.
It was
last year.
I mean, for being as miserable as the weather was,
I didn't even notice till I got in my car to leave, and I was like, oh my god, everything that I own is soaked through right now.
It was mostly just at the end because it was like it was okay weather at the start, and then like we got up to the top and it started to rain, and then it didn't really quit.
Nope.
I would say it would be fun if it snowed.
I'm honestly Edison with like 3 or 4 inches of snow on it is really, really nice.
It's way more fun, I think, because the dust goes away and it's a little more challenging.
So when I went up last Saturday for Edison, just to kind of get a feel for the event this year, just to get scouted, run the route, the whole thing, because we had 2 80s, an FJ Cruiser, a new J250, and a Bronco. So pretty good smattering of vehicles.
Yeah.
And we also had a Jeep too, JL Rubicon.
Cool.
Different wheel sizes and this and that, but it was really fun to watch everybody work their way through it. But also at the same time, like, okay, like you can take a stock 80 through here if you take the running boards off. And you want to do obstacles, you're not gonna have any problem at all.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's plenty of go around. It's a great all around. Like you can get into a little bit of trouble if you want to, which is nice.
Which is really nice because yes, there's tight technical sections.
There are a couple tight spots, but
I just think of that after you get through that kind of big open like boulder field, you go through that either the right or the left, and the left is just like it's an absolute squeeze. There's trees and rocks.
Yeah,
so
that's not my favorite thing out there.
I don't really care because I got an absolute beater of a truck.
Yeah,
but it's just fun to be able to kind of weave your way through the trees and see the sights and drive over rocks and up and over things.
It's cool
and navigate through that. But anyways, getting back on track here. The event is October 19th and 20th. There will be a sign up on Eventbrite through our Instagram page, which is 4x4 Bend. I'm going to try to get this. When does this podcast go live?
I can post it whenever you want.
Probably not right this minute.
Okay.
But the hope is to
not live.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to have the Eventbrite up by probably end of this week or early next. Just depending on how much free time I have. So having that said, we can have up to 75 people without having to pull a permit with the Forest Service.
Cool.
So it's a lot of freaking people. We had, I think, what was it, 20 some odd people last year?
Okay.
20 rigs. Most of them being 80 series.
Yeah, it was
so
pretty impressive.
I would love to see like 25 to 30 80 series, and then trying to keep this as a 80 series specific event. I would love that, but due to the nature of the trail being public, I can't. I have no say in that matter.
Sure.
So the only thing I ask is if you are listening to this and you do want to attend and you do want to hang out, please be respectful of the event and come see one of us that's running the show. And just hang at the back of the pack. You're more than welcome to come spectate and watch and do whatever and come run the trail with us. But just be aware that there's probably going to be a bunch of us, and we're probably going to be hogging the whole thing today. So,
that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It is a great time, and I think for you and for your club being your kind of like, you know, your event of the year,
flagship event.
Oh my God, it's so cool. I hope that you can get a little bit more. Regional and like even further people to come out.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a good time and a lot of people would have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just being a part of it.
I'm really hoping that I reached out to some Instagram influencers, Zach Deal.
Okay.
I reached out to him, and I reached out to Tate with Gambler and a few other people, and I'm just really hoping that we can kind of get that reach this year, and just trying to do like a press run of sorts.
You got some coverage last year from someone, right? Wasn't there a digital article of some kind?
I wrote that.
Good for you.
So
all right.
Yeah,
so you covered it.
I covered it. The events.
Where did it end up?
That was the Toyota Trails.
Okay.
So I wrote an article last year with Toyota Trails. We're supposed to do one this year, but haven't had time with. I was gonna have my friend Max. He's my treasurer. He was gonna write it from a participant perspective instead of a event organizer perspective from me.
Okay.
But having that secondary perspective, and then having it pressed up again, I think would be awesome.
Yeah.
But right now we're kind of running out of time.
Okay.
Because what is it? It is currently the 28th of August.
Yeah.
The event's in less than 2 months.
Yeah.
So
do you have someone taking photos? Like I know you'll have a lot of people taking photos, but do you have someone that like specifically is going to?
I have somebody who's a maybe right now.
Okay.
I am going to reach out to a few other people that I have locally. My friend Isaac, Lawn Dart Design,
Okay.
has been a huge proponent and supporter of the club. He drives a sick-ass Raptor, but unfortunately he doesn't fit. So he's over the width restriction for Edison. But he is such a great sport, and he has a Kaibo trip that week or something like that. He's got something going on, and he's on the fence. So I'm going to try to see if I can get some other things lined up. But I had my friend Jonathan last year take some photos,
Yeah, there were some good photos.
There were some great photos taken. But I'd like to have more coverage if I could. Either way, I think, however it ends up, there'll be plenty of pictures. I don't really want to be like bombarding social media when the event's happening necessarily, but it would be great to have some coverage while it's happening or for the after fact.
Yeah.
So
cool. We should talk after this about that. I think I have some ideas.
Cool.
And I'm sure Colin does too.
Me?
You're
going to include me in the 80s event?
Yeah. Well, you have
it seats like 8, right? We can clone you.
Not quite. I mean, it depends on how many people sit in the bed, I guess. But
there's no bed in there. I mean, unless you're Jeremy, you cut the roof off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I did crash it last year with a Wagoneer, but
yeah, that's fine. It was
if you squint, you're like, hey, that's a funny looking 80s series.
That's close enough. We actually had one guy, Trey. He had a V8 3rd gen or 4th gen 4Runner on tons and like 42s come along just for shits and giggles. But the caveat was it has to say Land Cruiser on it somewheres. And he had a custom sticker made in the back panel that says Toyota Land Cruiser in the same font and everything.
Oh my God, I didn't see that.
No, it was great.
That was the first time I saw his rig out in the wild, and I talked to him for a long time about it because I was super into it.
It's for sale.
I know. I can't know.
You can do it, Sean.
Also, hey, by the way,
Yes.
if you want a 4Runner on tons with 40s or above, there's a plethora of them available on the internet.
Plethora, huh?
Yeah, that's the word I decided to land on for that.
A whole bunch.
You mean
There's
plethora?
many.
Plethora.
Plethora.
Plethora is box.
Plethora. Yeah, well, one of the two.
Yeah, close enough. There's a shitload.
There are many. A metric shit ton.
Mm-hmm.
We had a group message going back and forth, and like for like 3 days, every person it seems like suggested one. Basically, you, me, and Jesse. But
There you go. Well, it seems to me that the 4th gen 4Runner is kind of the bastard child of 4Runners. Like everybody loves the the 1st and 3rd gen 4Runners.
Yep.
And then everybody and their mother has a 5th gen 4Runner.
Yep.
But the 4th gen and the 2nd gen never really got much love.
well, I think 2nd gen is they have plenty of like people drive them and
Yes.
they're around, but they have a terrible thing with that 3-liter. Right?
The 3
Like,
liter's a hunk of shit.
it basically like neutered half of them,
Right.
like right out of the
Yeah.
go.
If you didn't get one with a 22R, it's in the junkyard.
And then I think the 4th gen is weird because it's got a full-time transfer case,
Right.
which is like a Land Cruiser. So
Right. I think it was
know.
built on the Prado chassis.
yeah, I think so.
Which is kind of like they're
It's the
cheap.
same as like a GX or a
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that 150 chassis, which is a great option if you're looking for something cheap to build.
Yeah.
Before they become expensive.
well,
Because
or
that's
if
just
you
how that works.
put them together like traded and make them awesome, then all of a
Yes.
sudden they're expensive. So
Well, everything's expensive when you build it like that.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not worth it. By the
You
way,
could-
it
You
is
could build a
100%
Geo
worth
Metro
it.
like that.
I don't want that. I'd rather have the 4Runner.
What's a Geo Tracker?
Okay, a little better.
Now we're getting closer.
Getting better.
Closer.
Okay.
My
Sorry.
obsession with weird cheap SUVs like that is the Suzuki X90 though.
Dude,
That's the one.
have you? There's one kid that used to show up to Cars and Coffee, and he had an X90, and I talked to him one day, and he takes off his sweatshirt, and he's wearing an X90 shirt.
Oh my god!
And I'm
well,
like,
you're wearing a
bro,
Land Cruiser
I'm like-
shirt, so
I'm like, where did you get that? He's like, you don't even want to know how long it took me to find this, but I did.
that is
So
awesome.
the X90 is the weirdest freaking car that ever existed. It's
Yeah.
like a Miata looking 4-wheel drive thing.
Yep.
It's so strange, but I love it. I love weird shit. I was out riding the Honda up on 370 a few weeks ago, and I just see a cloud of smoke and dust and this and that. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's a Via Cross. Of
Oh,
all
yeah.
things.
Wow.
I was
all
like,
right.
wow, somebody out using a Via Cross right now? And it was like
Yeah.
lifted on 35s too. It looked great.
That's great.
I was like, this is
Yeah,
awesome.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah.
There's a few. Weird
Few
car,
and
man.
far between.
All right. The points are tabulated.
All right. What do we got?
Okay, you ready for this? All right. So through the first round, it was fairly close. It was I scored it a 13-10, Sean.
Okay.
Okay. Second round, we
I didn't know we had rounds.
yeah.
I wasn't unaware.
How many rounds did we go?
69.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four
Okay,
There's
rounds.
4 rounds. Okay.
Okay.
So second round, Ethan actually won that 195 to 188.
Oh, that's large numbers in
Yeah.
the second
Interesting.
round.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is some interesting math.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was unaware.
Now round 3, Sean won that one, 34-32.
Oh,
Okay.
Tight margins.
Very tight margins.
very
I'm not
tight.
good at math, but I think that's tight.
Yeah. Now, in the fourth round, though, Sean kind of dominated
Okay.
with a 20 to 10.
Ouch.
Whoa.
You're officially uninvited to the event.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So-
Good. Thanks for making it a date that I can attend this year, and then
So
I won't be there.
what that ends up totaling
Mhm.
here is Sean 255 and Ethan 247.
Damn, that's pretty
Oh.
close.
So, but there is an issue here. I told you guys at the start that there's bonus points, and
Okay.
none of you know what any of the bonus
No, of
what,
course
Bonus-
not.
what the
bonus
bonus comments
nachos.
are. And as it turns out, there was a bonus comment made by Ethan worth 10 points. Sean loses.
Oh, all right.
Hit the applause.
We'll laugh at you.
We'll laugh.
instead.
Okay, that works. Yeah. All right. So,
So what was the bonus? I got to know.
yeah.
The people will need to know the answer. What was
Diesels.
the diesel?
Oh, diesels. I didn't talk
Yeah.
about diesels once.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
dude, I got 2 of them in my driveway.
Yeah, see?
Shoot.
There you go.
I got
My
none.
roommate Doug has a 1.8 GT as well.
Well, fine.
Yeah.
No diesels for me.
Sorry, man.
Well, what are you going to do about your new podcast? How are you going to host this thing? You want me to teach you anything, or you want to just take it over?
You know, unironically, I've actually thought about starting my own podcast unrelated to 80 series stuff.
Well, here you are.
So this is now the Ethan's Mountain Bike Technical Podcast. Congratulations. Thanks for tuning in.